Hello students, in this video I want to explain about the silicones. Silicones are the compounds of silicon. Okay, so this word is very much similar to the ketones. Okay, ketones are the compounds of the carbon, and we know the general formula of the ketone, that is the R. Ketones general formula is okay, R C double bond O R. So this is the general formula of the ketones. Okay, na? So why silicones are called so? Let us learn now. So silicones are the compounds of the silicon which have the empirical formula or the formula as R2SiO. So look here, R2SiO. So I write once again here R2SiO. So ketones general formula is R2CO. Sorry, yes, I have to write once again. Yes, ketone general formula is R2CO, and silicones general formula is R2SiO. So as the formula of the silicones is very much similar with the ketones, we call silicones as the silicones. Okay, na? But ketones exist as the individual molecules. R C double bond O R is a single molecule, but R2SiO is the empirical formula. It is not the molecular formula. That means silicones do not exist as the individual molecules. They always exist as the polymers. But the number of the molecules present in those polymers may differ from one another. Depending on the number of the molecules of that polymer, they may exist as liquids or solids. Okay, so and in the silicones we have what is that SiOS bonds. SiOS bonds, look here, SiO-Si bonds. So such type of bonds are also observed in silica. Silica means we know very well is sand. Silica means nothing but sand. In sand also we can observe SiO-Si bonds. In the similar way, we observe the SiO-Si bonds in silicones. So now we define silicones as the polymeric organosilicon compounds containing SiO-Si linkages as the silicones. I give the definition once again. The polymeric organosilicon compounds that contain SiO-Si linkages in them are called as the silicones. And we have to remember that these silicones are very stable even at high temperatures due to this SiO-Si bonds. This bond energy of the SiO bond is very high, so that's why it is impossible to break this SiO-Si bonds. So that's why they are stable even at a high temperature. Now we go for the classification of the silicones. Silicones are classified into three types. First one of them is the linear silicones, second one of them is the cyclic silicones, and third one of them is the cross-linked silicones. So silicones are of three types, like carbides. Here we are trying to recollect the classification of the carbides. Carbides are also three types. They are ionic carbides or salt-like carbides. Second one is the covalent carbides or molecular carbides, and the third one is the interstitial carbides. So like that, silicones are also of three types. Now let us learn what is meant by linear silicones. Look here, my dears. Here, this is the example for linear silicones. Here, we are having methyl groups in this example, but here we may have methyl or that means we may have the alkyl groups or aryl groups. Aryl means benzene ring. The compounds that contain benzene ring are called aryl groups. Aryl, not only aromatic rings. Aromatic parts are known as the aryl parts. Okay, na? So here we may have the R. So example for alkyl groups are methyl, ethyl, propyl. Methyl formula is CH3, ethyl formula is C2H5, and propyl formula is C3H7. Like that, we can write crores of alkyl groups. Okay, na? Now aryl group is represented with the AR symbol. Under aryl group, the most popular example is phenyl. So phenyl group formula is C6H5. So if we remove one hydrogen from the benzene, we get the phenyl group. That is the C6H5 group. Now look here. Here each silicon is surrounded by the two oxygen atoms. In linear silicones, each silicon atom is surrounded by the two oxygen atoms and two carbon atoms of the alkyl or aryl groups. So, and as this is the open structure, we call it as the linear structure. It is not the closed structure. Okay, na? So that's why we call it as the linear silicones. In linear silicones, each silicon is surrounded by the two oxygen atoms and it is a open structure. Now we go for the what is that, cyclic silicones. Okay, yes, this is the structure for the cyclic silicones. Here also each silicon is surrounded by the two oxygen atoms only, but the two extreme ends are joined. As a result, this one gets the cyclic structure. So that is the difference you have to remember. In cyclic silicones as well as in the chain silicones, each silicon is surrounded by the two oxygen atoms, and cyclic silicones are silicones have the closed ring structure. Okay, so this is the closed ring structure. Now this is the picture that tells about the linkages of the cross-linked silicones. Here, cross-linked silicones. In cross-linked silicones, each silicon atom is surrounded by the three oxygen atoms that we can observe in this picture. Okay, na? Three oxygen atoms, and one side it is occupied by the alkyl or aryl group carbon. Okay, that is the difference between the cross-linked and chain and the cyclic silicones. In linear and cyclic silicones, each silicon atom is surrounded by the only two oxygen atoms, whereas here it is in cross-linked silicones, silicon is surrounded by the three oxygen atoms. That is the difference we have to remember. Okay, next, what is that? We go for the preparation of the linear silicones. Here, the preparation of linear silicones involves three steps. First one is the preparation of the reactive intermediates, and second one of them is the what is that? Hydrolysis of the intermediate. Hydrolysis of intermediate. In the first step, we prepare the reactive intermediates. In the second step, we hydrolyze those intermediates. Due to the hydrolysis, we get the compounds silanols. Okay, na? If hydroxy groups are attached to the carbon, then we call them as the alkanols or alcohols. If hydroxy groups are attached to the silicon, we call them as the silanols. In analogy to the alkanols means nothing but alcohols. In alcohols, hydroxy group is attached to the carbon atoms, whereas in silanols, hydroxy group is attached to the silicon atoms. So, due to the hydrolysis, in the second step, we get the silanols. And third step is the polymerization. So, when silanols are heated, they lose the water molecules and undergo polymerization and form silicones. Okay. Yes. Now, here, this is the preparation of the intermediates. Look here. Here, alkyl or aryl substituted silicon halides are prepared by passing gaseous alkyl or aryl halide over an alloy of the copper or what is that? Copper and silicon at 575 Kelvin temperature. So we use alkyl halides. Alkyl halides are generally prepared as the RX. It may be either methyl chloride, ethyl chloride, like that. We can use any alkyl halide. Otherwise, we can use the any aryl halide like chlorobenzene, like the bromobenzene, like that. Okay, na? Here we get the different types of the uh, intermediate products. Here we know very well that silicon also belongs to the fourth group, no? So here on the silicon, one alkyl group or two or three or four. So many what is that? Different number of the alkyl groups may be substituted. Here only one alkyl group is present. Here two alkyl groups are present. Here three alkyl groups are present. Here four alkyl groups are present. Okay, so we call it as the in analogy with the hydrocarbons or alkanes, we call it as the trichloromethylsilane. Okay, and this one is the dichloromethylsilane, and this one is the chlorotrimethylsilane, and fourth one is the tetramethylsilane, tetramethylsilane. This one used as a reference in the NMR, that we know very well, that TMS, tetramethylsilane. Next one is the second step in the preparation of the linear silicones is the hydrolysis. Here generally except the dichlorodimethylsilane, other silanes are not useful for us to prepare the linear silicones. So that's why we use dichlorodimethylsilanes. By separating from the mixture, we use dichlorodimethylsilanes for the hydrolysis, and we hydrolyze them and we get the dimethylsilanols. Okay, na? And along with the HCl, we need not worry about the HCl. Okay, na? We have to worry about the dimethylsilanols. Okay, Next, we go for the third step in the preparation, that is the polymerization. 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 Okay, na? The selenols are polymerized through the loss of the water molecule formed by the combination of adjacent hydroxy groups of selenols to form the linear selenols as shown below. As I already told that when these selenols are heated, they lose water molecules from the adjacent hydroxy groups of the different two different molecules and form chains like this as shown in this picture. Look here. Here these two are adjacent selenols, dimethyl selenols. This is adjacent to this one. So they lose water molecules here. They lose water molecules here like this. So water molecule goes outside and SiOSi linkages will be formed. As a result, we get the silicones. Okay, now next we move on to the cross-linked silicones. In the similar way, we study about the preparation of cross-linked silicones. The preparation of the cross-linked silicones also involves the same three steps. First one is the preparation of the reactive intermediates. Okay, and here reactive intermediates are haloalkyl silanes, and when these silanes are subjected to the hydrolysis, we get the selenols. Selenols means the compounds in which hydroxy groups are attached to the hydroxy group is attached to the silicon are known as the selenols. So next, third one is the polymerization. So we go for the one by one. In the similar way, first step in the preparation is the what is that? Formation of the intermediates. Formation or preparation of the intermediates. Okay, na? So here in this process, what do we do means we take the alkyl halides and heat with silicon in the presence of the HCl. Okay, now we use the copper as a catalyst in this reaction, and we maintain the temperature at 300 degrees centigrade. So here we get the trichloromethylsilane, CH3SiCl3, trichloromethylsilanes. Then one more method here is there. So in the second preparation method, we react silicon tetrachloride with Grignard reagents. We know very well that Grignard reagents are alkyl magnesium halides. General formula of the Grignard reagents is alkyl magnesium halides, no? RMGX. So RMGX is the general formula of the Grignard reagents. Here R may be either alkyl group, or in the place of the R we can write the aryl groups AR. So this may be R or AR. So alkyl magnesium halides or aryl magnesium halides are called as the Grignard reagents. In the shortcut manner, we can remember Grignard reagents as AMMAHA, alkyl magnesium halides. Alkyl magnesium halides. Okay, na? So here we get the what is it? Yes. Intermediates. Now we go for the third preparation method of the intermediates. That one is the aromatic silylation. This is called aromatic silylation. Here, what is that? Aromatic compounds. Look here. Aromatic compounds. Aromatic compounds are reacted with the halosilanes. Halosilanes. That is the trichlorosilane. Trichlorosilane. Look here. The name is written here. Trichlorosilane. So we get the trichlorophenylsilane. Trichlorophenylsilane along with the release of the hydrogen gas. So here we have discussed the three methods for the preparation of the intermediates. First one is heating. Look here. Once again we try to recollect. This is the first. This is the first method in which silicon is heated with the alkyl halide with HCl. Silicon plus alkyl halides plus HCl. In the second method, silicon tetrachloride is reacted with the Grignard reagent. Grignard. In the first method, we have taken the alkyl halides and the HCl and silicon. Directly, we are using silicon metal element. Sorry. Here, we are using silicon tetrachloride, Grignard reagents. Okay, and in the third step, we take the halosilanes and the aromatic compounds. So, these are the three preparation methods that are used to prepare the cross-linked silicone intermediates. Next, second step is the hydrolysis of intermediate. As usually, this when this hollow alkyl, where is that? Sorry, yes, right, hollow alkyl silanes. Here, this is known as the trichloromethylsilane. Trichloromethylsilane is subjected to the hydrolysis. Here we get the silanol. Here 3 chlorines are present. Here 3 chlorines are present. So in the intermediate, so here 3 hydroxy groups are substituted. Okay, now this is we know very well that this is a nucleophilic substitution. Here hydrolysis of the reactive intermediates is nothing but nucleophilic substitution. So like that we can easily remember halogens are substituted by the hydroxy groups. So here we are having the 3 hydroxy groups in the silanol. In order to prepare linear silicones, we try to recollect. Yes. In order to prepare linear silicones cyclic silicones, here we require only 2 hydroxy groups. So here we have to take dialkyl silanols. But to prepare the cross-linked silicones, we require the monoalkyl silanols. To prepare the cross-linked or cyclic or linear silicones, we require dialkyl silanols. Whereas to prepare the cross-linked silicones, we require monoalkyl silanols. That is the difference we have to remember. Okay, na? Second step is the hydrolysis. So this one is the second step. Now we go for the third step. Here, okay, once again we go for the third step. Oh, yes, third step is the polymerization. So in the polymerization process, what happens means water is removed. Okay, we take that one. Okay, right. Yes, look here. Water is removed from the hydroxy groups of the adjacent silanols. As a result, what happens? SiOSi bonds will be formed. And we get the cross-linked silicones here. Okay. Now we go for the properties of the silicones. Already we have learned that silicones are highly stable even at high temperature. They do not decompose even at 200 degrees centigrade. Okay, na? But on heating, they may become the they may evaporate. That means they are non-volatile on heating. So they are non-volatile and are very stable. Second point is that the stability of the silicones depends on the alkyl or allyl groups that are present on the silicones. For example, here the silicones in which phenyl groups are present are very stable than the silicones in which methyl groups are present. In the similar way, the silicones in which methyl groups are present are very stable than the silicones in which ethyl groups are present. Okay, na? And the silicones which contain ethyl groups are in turn more stable than the silicones that contain propyl groups in them. So that is a decreasing order. But anyhow, we have to remember that phenyl group, presence of the phenyl group gives strong stability to the silicones. So presence of the phenyl groups is must to stabilize the silicones. On heating in air to 350 to 400 degrees centigrade, silicones are rapidly oxidized and cross links are formed. They are stable. Okay, there is no doubt. They are very stable. But on heating, oxidation takes place, and that means hydrogens will be removed, and due to that, polymerization occurs. We know very well that when the saliva from the spiders come outside, immediately it solidifies and changes into fiber. In the similar way, when these silicones are heated up to at elevated temperatures like 350 to 400 degrees centigrade, then they may undergo oxidation and they may change into the cross-linked silicones. That means liquid silicones may change into the solid silicones, okay na, due to the oxidation. Okay na, right. Next, these silicones are durable and they are chemically very inert. This inertness is due to the presence of the SiO-Si linkages in the silicones. As we have already learned, the bond energy of the SiO-Si bonds is very high, and that is 5 knot kilojoule per mole. Generally, such energy is not obtained in normal chemical reactions. So that's why they are very stable. And fifth property is that silicones are non-toxic. So that's why these silicones are used household items also because they are non-toxic. And silicone resins are used to prepare waterproof objects as well as to join the pipes. Okay na? So sixth point is that the viscosity of the liquid silicone does not change much with temperature. Generally, on heating, viscosity decreases, but here nothing change we observe in the viscosity of the silicones upon heating. And seventh property is that they possess good electrical insulating properties. They are good insulators because they are very stable compared to the organic compounds. And when organic compounds are heated at high temperature, what happens? They decompose and form carbon atoms. And we know very well that these carbon atoms form nanowires, and nanowires are electrical conductors. So, unlike that, these silicones are non-conductors, so that's why we use these silicones for insulating the electrical items or electrical wires. Okay, na? These silicones act as the insulators. Okay. Now we go for the applications of the silicones. When clothes or papers are exposed to the silicone vapors, we get waterproof clothes and papers. Waterproof. Okay, na? So water repellent action is there for the silicones. So that's why they are used for the preparation of waterproof clothes and papers. Paints and enamels mixed with silicones become resistant to high temperature and chemicals. So they have long life. The paints or enamels that are mixed with silicones have very long life, Okay, na? And they are very resistant to high temperature also, and generally they are not attacked by the chemicals. Okay, na? Next we go for the third application. Silicone resin is used on metal surface to prevent the materials from sticking to these surfaces. That means the non-stick pans or tawas are prepared by using these silicone resins. The silicones are coated on their surfaces. Okay, na? So that's why we can easily prepare dosas. Okay, na? And fourth point is that Vaseline obtained from silicones are highly useful for low temperature lubrications. You know very well that the substances which have layered structure act as the lubricants. For example, you see the graphite. Graphite has a layered structure, so that's why that graphite act as the lubricant for a what is that joint machines, and a joint like the machines which have joint structures. Okay, now in them we can't use the simple oils, so there we use the graphite. Okay, now we add graphite lumps which act as the lubricants. In the similar way, while playing the caroms we use the boric acid. Boric acid also has the layered structure. So due to that layer structure, they act as the lubricants, because when pressure is applied on them, what happens? Those layers slide on the one above the other. So that's why any substance which has the layered structure acts as the lubricant. Okay. Next, we go for the fifth application. These silicones withstand high temperature without charring. Charring. That means charring means becoming black, losing volatile compounds. Okay, now for example, when we try to prepare curry at a high temperature, what is that? The bottom of the at the bottom of the uh, bowl in which we are preparing curry, we observe the black color. That is example for charring. Okay, na? We know that vegetables are carbon compounds. So when they are heated to high temperature, what happens? They lose the volatile compounds like water and other simple molecules. As a result, what happens? Only carbon remains at the bottom. So that is known as the charring. Okay, now so here we can't observe such type of charring here when we heat the silicones even at high temperatures. So that's why what happens means we use these silicones as the best insulating materials for the electric appliances. Okay, now silicones rubbers retain their elasticity at low temperature as compared to the other rubbers. At low temperatures, generally what happens means the natural or synthetic rubbers, they become rigid and break into pieces. So that's why. So but that's such we don't observe such type of tendency in case of the silicone rubbers. Rubbers become fragile fragile at low temperatures and become soft at high temperatures, but we don't observe such type of the anomalous behavior in the silicones. Next, we go for the seventh view. They are resistant to oils. Generally, organic compounds dissolve in organic liquids. For example, nylon or other some plastic animals, they may dissolve in the organic solvents. But here, silicones do not dissolve in organic compounds or oils. Okay, na? Silicone greases with stand temperature range from 175 to 725 Kelvin temperatures. So this we can use the silicones as grease even at a high temperature also. A grease prepared from phenyl oil and lithium soap is used for ball bearing which operate at high temperature and high speed. So that is the most important point we have to you remember in case of the silicones. Now in this picture, uh, look, a liquid adhesive is present. This liquid adhesive generally we use for sealing of the pipes or hoses. Look here, this is a pipe or hose prepared by using silicones. These are silicone stoppers. Okay, so these are some applications of the silicones. Thank you. Thank you for watching, my dears.